Hello, everyone. It's time to eat, drink, and be merry with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy.
Hey everybody, it is time to say cheese. Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show today with Big Blend Magazines. And today we've got Chef Ivan Flowers back on the show. Chef Ivan is a 5-star chef. He also teaches in Temecula. He teaches cooking, which is awesome, teaches teenagers how to get in the kitchen. We love that. But he's going to be teaching us how to make his California mac and cheese recipe. You can see it right now. Just go to blendradioandtv.com. You'll see Chef Ivan in our expert department. And also just type in a mac and cheese and you'll find it. Also, you'll see Chef Ivan on YouTube. He's got a really cool cooking channel. You can follow him on Facebook and Twitter at Chef Ivan Flowers. So welcome back, Chef. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Nice to be back.
Listen, this cheese and mac, Nancy, it's just me here today, Lisa. And Nancy, unfortunately, she's not feeling so great. You know what? You can't have an earache when you do podcasts and radio and you have headphones and phones and everything. So she's not here, but she wants your mac and cheese, and you've done a vegetarian version, but she said, can we put bacon or chorizo on it? So I've just got to give a shout out for her because she's like, she wants it. I think if I make it for her, because we have a kitchen in our hotel room here at the Coronado Moto Hotel, it might make her feel better because it's comfort food.
Very comforting.
Yeah, especially for winter.
Comforting to make, comforting to eat, yes.
It's good. It's good. And before we get there, I just want to talk about last time you were on the show. You talked about taking the students to the Battle of the Burgers in Temecula. So you want to tell everybody what that event was about, and then let's get into how it was.
Yeah, it was put on by Pechanga Resort and Casino. And what they did is they had, it was two-tiered. It was the best burger. I believe there was 25 or something restaurants for the burger. And the students were tasked with doing the fries. Loaded fries, coming up with a fry dish. And the chefs were kind of their sous chefs. They worked for them. And together they came up with a recipe. And it's called work-based learning. The venue, Pechanga, is staggering. I mean, it's such an amazing resort. And what they do is then they donate the money to our program so we can get certification for food handlers cards and different things and help us run the program. And they loved it. There was the people's choice, there was the judge's choice, and they just came alive. I mean, they were in the banquet kitchens, they had chef coats on, they were cutting, cooking, creating, plating, talking to guests. It's fabulous. I look forward to it every year.
Oh man, that is so cool. I love it that they're working with chefs and actually getting that, on-site learning. I know we talked about that before, but so this is a program. Is it Temecula High School that it's through?
Temecula Valley High School.
Temecula Valley. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So this is really cool that, and then, you've been in San Diego for a while. When we first started chatting with you, I think you were in our beginning shows 12 years ago. I think you were back when you were in Sedona, Arizona, and then you moved to San Diego. And we've, had this conversation for years, and our cooking is getting better, by the way. It is. Thank you for all these tips. But it's interesting going into the teaching field, which I think you've done. I mean, coming on radio shows like what we do and sharing recipes really helps people get in the kitchen and get into doing something. You're going to be, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all the holiday season is upon us. And every year you've been doing the hotline thing, right? You're on TV half the time or on hotline answering people's questions for Thanksgiving. And I remember over the years, you say it's really the drunk line that happens. What's happening this year? Are you doing it?
Yeah, it's Fox 5 San Diego. I think I'll be on 6 in the morning till 7:30 Thanksgiving morning. And we get people that call that are like my turkeys in the freezer. What do I do? How do I cook a turkey? Cooking a turkey and cooking a chicken, it's the same thing. There's no difference. But the reality is when you buy a frozen turkey, it takes 5 days to defrost in your refrigerator. So you've got to get that thing actually in there Sunday night, Monday morning, to even stand a chance, and you've got to leave it out to get to room temperature, which is another 2 to 3 hours. And people that at that point, I'm like, run to a supermarket and try to get a fresh turkey. You're not going to make it. I had one person that had a live turkey in the backyard and said, can you tell me what to do? And I'm like, no, I can't.
No. Wow. That's your friend.
And yeah, people partying the night before going, I had one gentleman say, how do I open the oven? I go, I don't know what that means. And then, of course, you also have the ones that do the deep fried turkey, which is really dangerous unless you know what you're doing. You can't fill it up with too much oil. Otherwise, it overflows. It hits the flame. And I don't know what it is, the statistics, like thousands of people like burn part of their house down with fried turkeys unless you know what you're doing. So it's a wild ride, but we help them. We help them. We calm them down.
Yeah, because I know that fried turkey thing. I've been to some events where people are doing it, and I'm like, I don't know if I trust you doing it. I'm not talking about you, Chef Ivan, but you start, your friends, and you're like, really, you're the one who said you're going to do that? Like, do not do that, and please don't drink when you're doing it. But then it's like, I'm going to drink and watch it, and I'm by the door ready to go at any time. But yeah, it's interesting, the whole Thanksgiving, and this really applies to Christmas too, and holiday meals. And I think what's great about this California mac and cheese is I want that as my side dish of any holiday meal. I mean, to me, this is I could enjoy it as a full meal. I've done mac and cheese as a full meal, but there's something about mac and cheese of it being like the ultimate comfort food. But at the same time, it's in 5-star restaurants as like, here's your lobster and mac. And so it can be dressed up really well, right? So it's...
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's also interesting, the kind of pasta that you pick. So here we're doing an elbow, but you can do wagon wheels. You can do penne. You can do orchette, right? All different types of pasta that have different mouthfeel. You can do mini shells. You can take lasagna noodles or pappardelle, cut them up and do it that way, where you do layers, almost like a lasagna.
Ooh.
And you put the cream in between and bake it and then kind of cut it like a lasagna. I mean, you can take mac and cheese anywhere you want, anywhere.
Yeah. Well, this is how you've always, taught us on the shows. Is like, you take something and now here's your basics, learn your basics, and then go crazy and just, revolutionize it every time. What's interesting with this is you're saying, okay, we're going to use like elbow pasta that you boil, like the typical stuff you get in the store. But also over shows, you've talked about making your own pasta. Would you ever make your own pasta and then apply that? Because, and when we're talking about, lasagna and everything, this is not like getting that, that blue box or whatever, that advertising kind of like stuff where you pour the packet in and you put it, you know what I'm talking about. It's not that you're taking it, and it's not like put it on the stovetop and then, throw it on a plate and scarf it down. This gets baked. And so you get that nice crispy, oh my God, that melted cheese, crispy cheese at the top that everybody fights for, like you do for the turkey skin, right?
Oh, so,
right. It's about that. This is different. And so this is about taking us from being, playing boxed foods and fast food in your kitchen to doing it. And it's not that hard, but would you make your own pasta?
You can. And I would do a potato pasta and a gnocchi.
Oh,
I would do this with a gnocchi and do a mac and cheese and gnocchi style and bake it and then finish the top with a little breadcrumb and fresh herb. That would be like, to die for.
Ooh. I'm digging this.
And if I was,
at the top, I like that.
If I was making my own pasta, I would probably do very thin pasta sheets. And just like I had said before, do layers. And then when it's done, you just cut it into nice squares and bring that up. And you might have 15 or 16 layers of that fresh pasta, almost like a lasagna sheet. Would be fabulous on this.
Now, would you have this on Thanksgiving, like with turkey? Would you do it like
I would have this anytime. Oh, yeah. Anytime, anywhere.
With
anytime,
wine.
anywhere.
Is this a wine
with
or
wine.
a beer? Is wine. Yeah, me too.
Both. Start with wine. You start with beer, you switch to wine.
You know what?
Yeah,
We just tried this. We sampled Sauvignon Blanc, a, Chardonnay, and a Pinot Noir from
yeah,
a winery called Mount Beautiful in New Zealand. And I know we're interviewing the winemaker soon, but they're here in California and out of Sonoma too. So I know it's available in California, but I have to tell you, when I was reading this recipe, all I could think of was I want the Pinot Noir with this. I know maybe people would think lighter, or the Chardonnay, but there's something
yeah,
about cheese and Pinot, and this. When you get a good
yeah.
Pinot Noir, you start to go dingbat. You and Tracy talk about the avocado dance, which you have to do with this too. I want to do the avocado Pinot dance with this recipe
Yes,
and that wine.
yes,
This is like the perfect pairing. Oh my gosh. Like yum yum. Okay. So I want this for Thanksgiving. I don't even care about the turkey, but other people do. I just want this. You put avocado on top of it. This
I
is
do.
amazing.
I
I
do.
dig that. I never thought
Yeah.
about putting avocado with it.
Oh, yeah. You fold in the jalapenos. I think we did pickled jalapenos. You can do
Yeah.
fresh jalapenos. You can do smoked jalapenos. You can do grilled jalapenos. It gives it that bite. And then the mac and cheese are creamy and al dente. And then the creaminess of that avocado with a good French sea salt.
Ooh.
Oh, it just works. It just works.
One thing I wanted to talk about too, I know you said diced pickled jalapenos. I'm like, ooh, that's really good. And that's good for you. Pickled food is good, especially if you
Yes.
make it yourself. I remember Nancy teaching me how to make mac and cheese as one of the first meals she taught me how to cook. And I loved cooking as a kid. I mean, I was into it. It was science. I did things that, when you talk about flour and cooking with flour to make the mac and cheese, this is something I think we miss when we just take it out of the box and throw that, throw the milk in and you throw that little packet in. I haven't done any of that for years, but I think we miss this process. And I didn't realize it until this recipe. I was like, oh yeah, we're making a roux, right? It's like a cheese
Yes.
roux.
It's a roux.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
putting the flour in. I used flour
You're
to take
making,
out fires
yeah,
on the stove when I was a kid.
yes. that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making a bechamel. You're making a roux, equal amounts of fat and butter, and then you're putting the milk in. There's your bechamel, and that's what you fold your cheese into. And then you get your consistency, and then you fold your macaroni into that. This is also good. Tracy does this thing with leeks. When you take leeks and you saute them with just a slight amount of butter,
Ooh.
they become magical. If you put leeks into this dish, it just takes it over the top. Takes it over the top.
I take leeks and I chop them up, clean them real well, and then saute them in butter and sometimes mushroom and garlic and other onions. And then I put them in a crock pot, and then the potatoes, all kinds of potatoes and carrots. And then that is my soup, or it can be a big casserole. You can put broccoli in there. You can put whatever you want, but that's my leek thing. And now I'm going to have to go get a crock pot since we're traveling. I'm going to do a crock pot. I can do it. We're in a hotel for a month, right? It's worth it.
Of course you can.
Yeah, but
it's a good investment.
Leeks are good for you. That's one thing I've learned, that they're really. So would you put leeks or use onion in this? You would just
I would do leeks. I would definitely do leeks. There's so much butter. They're buttery, or shallots with some leeks. I mean, they're just more buttery. They have a tamer taste. They lend itself a lot better to the mac and cheese. I mean, you could take mac and cheese like pasta primavera all the way up to sausage and everything in between. You can take it anywhere you want.
It's like making pizza, when you think about the ingredients. Like you could say, okay, instead of jalapenos, would you do bell peppers, like a nice red bell pepper to give it like even a sweeter side? But then you'd have to balance it out with some salt. But that's the cheese. You used cheddar cheese and then pepper jack cheese, which goes also, think of California, the avocados, the jalapenos, so you got that. But then you also put mascarpone. And I was looking on mascarpone today, and I found like people making their own mascarpone.
Yes.
You made your own mascarpone?
Back in the day, yes. I used to make my own mascarpone, my own ricotta. The thing about mascarpone, when you buy it commercially good mascarpone, it tastes sweet and there's no sugar in it. And yet it's like this sweet Italian cream. It's remarkable, mascarpone. It's a little different than cream cheese. It's a lot sweeter. and smoother. Another thing you can do with mac and cheese is you can fold in smoked cheeses, smoked Gouda, smoked mozzarella, smoked provolone. So you get a smokiness running through it. You can grill peppers or smoke peppers and then get a smoky element to it. And it's very forgiving mac and cheese. It accepts a lot that you want to give it, you know?
What do you, when you were talking about the smokiness, I love that. Would you, like with the smokiness part, ever use liquid smoke in any of your cooking? Like with this,
No.
would you do it in there?
You could put some liquid smoke in. Liquid smoke's a little strange to me. I'd rather smoke something.
Oh, me too.
Or have it over, than put liquid smoke in. But you can put liquid smoke, a touch. You got to be careful. It's very strong. Another thing you could do is smoked salt. Smoked salt is very, very powerful. You sprinkle a little bit in, you'll get a smokiness throughout the entire dish.
Ooh, this is good. I'm digging the smoky. I'm like the spice in it. I just never even thought of pickled jalapenos. That was one thing Nancy wanted to say to you, is like pickled jalapenos. Who would think pickled,
Yeah.
versus
Or pickled okra or jardiniere. I mean, you could do a lot of things.
This is sounding good. Now, I wanted to go to the crumbs, the breadcrumbs. You talked about that. Nancy used to teach me to do that. When you do breadcrumbs, are you doing like the panko thing? Are you doing your own breadcrumbs? And
you can do either. Yeah.
You could either? Okay. Now, what about, this is weird. I was just thinking the holiday season where it's, you get all those bags of nuts and everybody's cracking nuts and everything. Would you ever crush up nuts and use them as part of, because there's something about that, like a shaved, I don't know, pecans or almonds.
I would take, if you're doing breadcrumbs, you could also add a little Parmesan to it on the top. If you're doing nuts, what I would do is roast the nuts, get them nice and roasted so those oils develop, go into a Roboku or blender or chop it really fine, and then mix it with panko. You could do pistachio. You could do smoky almonds. There's a lot you can do. You could do macadamia and spice them up with a little bit of chili and put that on as a persillade.
Ooh, this is good. Now, what about if you're vegan? Have you experimented with any vegan cheeses to see if this would work? Or
there are vegan cheeses that work. And there's soy milk, there's almond milk, there's all those different things. You have to get a good soy cheese. There's a woman that's selling, I forget her name, soy cheese. Tracy turned me onto it the other day, and she can't keep up with it. The flavor and the meltability is like unbelievable. People are just flipping out because usually it's like, it's so-so, but her soy cheese is like to die for.
Wow.
So yes, you can do vegan on this.
That's exciting to hear, because I think that's the thing when people either change over for health or environment or just, your body, I need to do this. You miss these kind of comfort foods, mac and cheese goes, that's something you grow up on, and when it's really good and it's, you can do all these different things to it, you don't want to miss that part of it. So that's exciting to hear about it being out there, that there are those kind of cheeses that, vegan cheese. I know when we look at the holiday season too, this is a big problem. What do we do with all of our, dishes? What do we do when the vegan walks in? The vegan or the gluten-free? And gluten-free and vegan are two different things. I'm seeing that's become an issue where people don't understand the difference, Yeah. So you may want to do nuts as a topping for your gluten-free friends, right? Or they're not going to have mac and cheese at all, though, because there's going to be gluten-free rice. You can do rice noodles, right? There's like a...
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Gluten-free pasta, sure.
Okay. So
people go crazy with mac and cheese. They'll make it, they'll let it get cold. They'll slice it. They'll put it in a saute pan, and they put it on a burger. They'll bring it back it looks like, they'll put that on a burger. They'll serve it with hash and eggs for breakfast. One of the best things is when you have all the leftovers, you start reinventing again. We did a Thanksgiving thing. Tracy, she comes up with ideas. And I go, okay, we're going to do Fox 5. What are we going to do? She did stuffing, where she took the entire meal and she put it into the stuffing and then put that into a, what is it called? A muffin pan. So when you cooked it, it was encased in the stuffing. You cut it, it had the turkey, it had the cranberry sauce, it had the potatoes, it had a touch of grilled. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Oh my God.
And it was stuffed stuffing.
That's
stuffed
awesome.
Stuffing.
What about this turducken thing? And then I saw someone with a turkey and the all of this oyster, what do you call the big octopus coming out of it, like out of the stuffing place. This big oyster.
I don't know.
I don't want to do that, man. That just looked really quite graphically gross.
Yeah.
But the octopus thing, I don't even know how to cook octopus. We should do something on that one day.
Yeah.
Octopus. But I feel like they're sentient beings. Octopus. There's something about them.
They are. They are. They recognize you. They come up to the tank. They dance. You tap on the glass. They kind of know who you are. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh God.
I know. It's like, I don't know if I really want to do that to you, So
well, I did a Thanksgiving show a number of years ago on Fox, and the farmer came in with the turkey, the live turkey, and he put it next to me, and it was kissing me and rubbing its head. I was with 2 other chefs, and we were like, oh my God, how are we going to do this now?
See, that's the hard thing. But but you know what? I think it's important in this way of that food waste and understanding where our food and everything comes from, that when you're so disconnected, then you don't have respect for food, and then you just like throw that part away. You don't use the whole, animal that you've purchased, or you overeat on it. And I think this gives you this healthy respect where we do need to, I remember Gordon Ramsay doing that with his kids, having them raise, I think they were raising turkeys, and they got to know the turkeys, named them, and then it was time for Christmas or Thanksgiving or Christmas over there. And it was like, this was a whole ordeal, but he wanted them to have that connection to the animal so that didn't just take a life for nothing.
Well, I talk to the kids all the time. This generation, they're crazy for beef. So I said, if an animal is slaughtered for food, you need to eat everything. So we talk about, menudo, a tripe, the stomach, the intestines, brains, kidneys. I would never eat that. Why not? Why wouldn't you eat it? Oxtail. I'd never touch it. Well, if you're going to kill an animal for food, you eat everything. Otherwise, it's not good. The tongue. Get high school kids to try tongue. That's the lesson in stuff.
Get the ew part of it, Yeah, I think that's that whole part. And when we think about Thanksgiving and Christmas and the holidays and that season of giving, we've also got to think about having that respect of what we're doing. And we got to have that balance as well. So I want to tell you the cheese and mac and cheese. When we were in Louisiana, we went to the Natchitoches, this oldest city in Louisiana, the Natchitoches Folk Festival. It was the 40th annual one. It was one of those moments that I will never forget in my life. It was one of the most amazing, most incredible experiences when you see a 90-year-old come out and play Zydeco music, hardcore, like just all of his body in it with his family. And this is real. There's no polished, shiny anything. This is the real stuff. You basket weavers, Native American basket weavers from a tribe of only 600 of their kind, so all of these real, very real experiences. And the food is a big deal. So Natchitoches is known for meat pies. So, like New Orleans has their beignets. And I finally had a beignet. Wow. Yum. But the meat pie is their thing. It came out of a restaurant, and that became what they're famous for. They have a festival every year. So when we were there, it was like meat pies everywhere. But the one lady was selling meat pies stuffed with mac and cheese. And of course, I was like, dude, I'm going in. And let me tell you, everybody's looking at me, it's like, you got to do the traditional, which I've had. And I'm like, dude, but this is mac and cheese and it's encased. So it's like, it's kind of like a big empanada. And that's what they stuff the meat pie.
That's exactly what it is. You know, it's so funny you said that. This last week, we did empanadas. And
Awesome.
I showed them how to do a savory empanada with roasted chicken. And then we did sweet empanadas with chocolate and different kinds of cream, and how to make that dough, which is tricky. A true empanada dough is tricky. Thank God Tracy gave me a good recipe. And they loved it. It was fabulous.
See, now would you say do that as like, would you put mac and cheese into that? I mean, that's really what
Why
it was.
Not?
And it was good. It was good because how they managed to keep the creamy texture of it, and yet there was a crisp outer part, and it's always that, like you talk about that mouthfeel, that texture. And I was like, dude, this is cool. And then we had fry bread, but it was like Louisiana fry bread, different than Southwest fry bread, you know. So this was, you've got to try things, even if you think woo weird. Try it if you can. You know, boudin. We ate boudin, and you know that's a little, and hog's head cheese and all of that.
Right.
That in Louisiana may not be your thing, but they're using. I'll tell you this: Louisiana. There's a joke. You see roadkill on the side of the road. Don't worry about it. Someone's going to eat it. It's this running joke there, because it's don't waste anything. And I think there's something to that. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to eat possum stew, but they do, you know. So you know, some do, and all the way through the hills of, you know, the Appalachian area and all that. It's people using every part of it, and that's something to think about. When you do a turkey, what do you do with that whole gizzard part? Like, do you ever use that to make a broth?
I eat it. I love the neck, which my grandmother used to call the goigle. I love turkey necks. We roast them. I use the liver. We roast the heart, and we roast the stomach.
Wow. I remember that.
I don't waste any of that.
Don't you get that little weird baggie in there? I mean, I haven't done any of that kind of cooking for years. You get the little baggie in, and people throw it away. But Nancy used to give like the livers and stuff to the dogs and cats and stuff.
Well, a lot of times, if it's not in the cavity, they put it in the neck, and people forget to pull it out of the top of the turkey where they put it in a little bag, and they cook it with that in it, and they go, oh my God, what is this? I forgot to pull it out. But that's some of the best part. And if you take turkey necks and you roast them, they make an incredible stock. An incredible stock, turkey necks. Oh. I just like eating them because it's like, my grandmother turned me on to that when I was like 3, you know? I was sitting there eating the big goigles and pickled pig's feet and prunes and
you got to have the prunes, especially on Thanksgiving, right? Everybody's got to.
I had to have the prunes.
Yeah,
you know, we'd go to the live chicken market. I mean, she'd get the chickens live. She would go to the market and have them freshly killed chickens. You know, she's ahead of her time.
I remember in Kenya where, you know, I lived with different cultures and different tribes and different cultures, you know, including Muslim everybody. So don't get, you know, everybody gets all riled up over that, but really nice people. But I remember at one time, and they killed a chicken. I mean, Nancy did this thing too. I mean, in Kenya, she was like, oh, look at the goat. And then they killed the goat, and right there. And she's like, oh, crap. And it was a blessing to her for being new in their in their tribal setting. And I don't want to say tribal setting. It's just, you're in their home, you know, and they're welcoming you. You like the goat, and it was like a gift to her. And so it's you have to overcome that stuff pretty quick and be thankful. And the same thing happened with this chicken. I remember this, and the chicken twitching, and then all these things they had to, you know, pluck the feathers, and as a kid going like, damn. And it was such a weird thing, but you started to really learn anatomy over it and how things work in a body. And it just was this, like, if you're ever going to learn about life and death, that's going to be one of those things, not necessarily nice, but it was a very real thing. And I was like, oh my God, this is what's going on. You know, and I was also living in a place where I watched a lion take down impala and stuff like that. So you have this real sense of reality. It's a reality. And I feel like we've kind of got away from that as families with you know, YouTube videos and all of that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, we have kids that they fry chicken by the ton. And yet when we do a lab with chicken, I teach them how to cut it up into 8-piece, 12-piece, 14-piece. They're flipping out. And I'm like, and this is not a live chicken being killed. This is just a chicken you buy in the store. They're so removed from that because all their food, a lot of the food they buy is microwavable or it's already cooked in a restaurant or in a supermarket. So they don't know. They have no idea. They don't even make the connection. I had a young man that passed out when I cut a chicken up 2 years ago. He hit the floor.
I did that with a shark's board. When they they opened up the shark and all these babies were in there, and I just like, that's it, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out, but I don't eat shark. I don't eat any of that. But there's a it's a reality. It's a wake up call. And I think this is, good to talk about. People don't want to talk about this stuff, but you just have a healthy respect when you see and understand it's a living being. And I'm not saying don't eat your turkey, but understand. And we went to a turkey farm way back when we started the tour up in Northern California called Diesel Turkey. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're farm raised. They make their own organic soil for people from the turkey poo and all this stuff. And it's like this amazing company that, family owned ranches and stuff. So do you think that we need to look for that, when you're shopping for your turkey, to kind of look at, is Butterball good or bad? What do you think? Or you don't have to comment.
Some turkeys are injected for flavor, and they'll put down, let's say it's a 3 to 15%. And people go, it's small, it's 15%, it's 10%, but it's actually not it's fat and salt. And they inject it, and that's what causes it to be very, very, very tender. You can brine a turkey and get the same result and not have to deal with injections. As far as farms and stuff, the way things are raised is different. Like when you eat a fresh chicken, it tastes like nothing that you can buy in a supermarket. When you eat fresh eggs, the shells are, almost hard to crack compared to commercial, eggs. It's different. And yes, I think people should know a little more about that, where their food is coming from and how it's raised.
That's interesting you say that, because when we were in Colorado and we stayed at a friend's place, Eva's house, her little writer's retreat in Florence, Colorado, a little tiny, tiny town. And across the street is a family that have their own, farm, like mini farm, and they're taking acres, where houses would be, and growing vegetables and fruits and everything for the town. And so there's a farmer's market there. I mean, we're talking about small, tiny town. And they got to a point, because they're busy, they're still, making a living with jobs and everything. They would just put up one of those little farm stands, and you go on the honor system. And I'm telling you, oh my God, the best fruit and veg. I mean, it was like literally you couldn't beat walking across the street, a tiny street, and getting like real squash, real potatoes, just it's right there. You can't get closer than that. So this was this cool place, and it was cheaper than the grocery stores, by the way. And you could see, this is coming from their hard work, this one couple. And so Eva went and got eggs. I'm going to have to send her this podcast and make sure she hears this. So she left these eggs from across the street. And then Nancy and I are going, well, she bought these fresh eggs. I wonder how long they're going to really be okay. And I started Googling things, and I found out that if you buy eggs, there's a difference between whether or not you refrigerate them. And of course, if you buy them fresh from the farm, and it's about what they do. They wash the eggs or something. And when they do that, it screws up your length of time with the eggs of what you do to the shell. Because Nancy was like, man, these shells are hardcore.
Yeah.
And you could actually keep these eggs, and I'm going off the top of my head, but I think up to 6 months or something. Insane.
Well,
I didn't know that about eggs.
Not processed.
Not processed. I didn't know our eggs were that processed.
Chickens lay more eggs than they're supposed to in one day. It's insanity. We go to a market in Imperial Beach called Manolo. Like my wife does the avocado dance. She dances the entire time she's in here. This market, the produce the fruits come right from Mexico. I saw apples yesterday, the size of which I have never seen in my life. I saw Roma tomatoes that were produce that is so remarkable, and it stays fresh for what, weeks, and it is like literally what we got 5 bags yesterday of produce and fruits and vegetables for $24. At a supermarket, it would have cost us probably about $115. And this stuff is to die for.
Oh my God! You know, when we lived in Mexico, it was Punta. Ah, my gosh, it's out near La Bufadora, Punta. Oh my gosh, it's been years ago, but just south of Ensenada, and you drive through. There's all these farms, and one of them was it's this huge greenhouse thing that they do, like almost hydroponics, but not all hydroponics. And they were doing all this baby vegetables for like specialty markets and stuff. And the one restaurant that, I don't know if they're still there or not, but we were, hanging out and working with them and stuff. And their food was so good because they were using the produce from there. And that produce
of course,
was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, it's not corporations. It's not big corporations doing the farming where the tomatoes come in and, they're shipped, a month before and they ripen. And this is different. This is farm fresh food, and they put their hearts into it. There's an integrity. There's, a professionalism to do it right. Where you look at some of the food in supermarkets, and it's like, whatever. I mean, what we get? 5 cucumbers for $1. There was a supermarket here. It was $1 a cucumber. You paid 33 cents for beautiful avocados. $1.39 a piece somewhere else. I mean, that's insanity.
Yeah, that's true. And I want the big, just buttery avocados. The big ones.
You want like a slim cotto, those really big ones.
Yeah.
They're hard to find, those really big ones, and you put some fresh sea salt on it and lemon. Oh my God.
That's what we'd have for lunch. It would come off the trees in our backyard in South Africa. Nancy would cut it up and she's like, here's your lunch. We'd have half an avocado and it would be like you'd go for the rest of the day totally just full, and it's amazing. Yeah. When you get those giant ones, we used to put salad in them. And, use all that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do the avocado dance because I have 2 really beautiful avocados, not that big, not the big beauties, but I got 2 perfectly ripe, beautiful avocados. And I had one last night, and I know that these 2 are good. So guess what we're having for dinner? And I'm going to put it on top of mac and cheese. I just never thought of it. So thank you, as always, Chef Ivan. Such a pleasure. My gosh. We got great turkey tips, everybody. And think about what you can do on your farmers markets. It's a good time to also look at CSAs and what is your community producing. Whatever you can do in that way this year, I think we got to be thankful for our farmers. Let's put it that way,
Yes.
As we look at Thanksgiving and Christmas and going into the new year, what can we do to support our local community in regards to farms and agriculture? The small farms especially, they need everything we can do. Everyone, again, Chef Ivan's recipe for California mac and cheese is up on blendradioandtv.com. Just type it in the search or go to his expert page. You'll see it there. And also, we want to thank our sponsor of today's episode is San Benito Bene, and we love them. We only take on partners that are aligned with our values, and San Benito Bene is definitely that. They are a locally inspired culinary and gift shop located in downtown Hollister in Central California. Everything is local, from the books to the olive oils to the chocolates to everything. So check them out at San Benito Bene. That's B-E-N-E, Bene, sanbenitobene.com. And don't forget, Big Blend Radio airs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sundays. Check it all out at bigblendradio.com. So Chef Ivan, we're talking about cheese and mascarpone and pepper jack and all of that. I have a cheese song. I should be playing California music, but this is about cheese. And I'm going to try and pronounce this right. It's from our friend Wally Lauder, and everyone check him out at wallylauder.com. Awesome singer-songwriter. La Val di Salud. Does that sound right to you?
It sounds good. Yes.
Sounds good. It's about a place with a lot of cheese in France. And if anybody knows how to grow things well, I think France knows how to do it. So
Yes.
Here it is, everyone. Enjoy. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful holiday season.
In the countryside of France, on the road between Paris and Lyon, there's a town in the region of Burgundy, la région de Bourgogne. There are winding streets and lots of little shops. There always seems to be a buzz in the air. Patisseries, boulangeries, a music that you won't believe, cafes and restaurants everywhere. The town of Sauilleux is in the heart of France, on the road between Paris and Lyon, where travelers stop to rest for a while and feel the welcome of those who make it their home. Marie-Françoise runs a little cheese shop, better known as a fromagerie. She's a woman who's the picture of the heart of France. This is what she said to me.
Si vous visitez une fromagerie, vous êtes perdu parce que nous avons tant de choix. Regardez ce fromage de chèvre. Nous avons 20 sortes différentes.
Which is to say, if you visit a cheese shop in France, you are lost because we have so many choices. Look at all this goat cheese. We have over 20 different kinds.
Le sol nourrit l'herbe, l'herbe nourrit le chèvre de la chèvre, et le fromage complete le vin.
The soil feeds the grass feeds the goat. From the goat comes the cheese, and the cheese completes the wine. La vie de Sauilleux et beaucoup de la France, sur la route entre Paris et Lyon, où les voyageurs s'arrêtent pour se reposer un peu, pour sentir le cœur de ceux qui l'ont fait leur maison.
Nous avons Saint-Éclair et Bleu de Témignon, Camembert et Reblochon. Fruits de Meaux, raclette, roquefort et tomate de Borge, salaire, beaufort et tombe de roman.
Translation, we have a lot of cheese.
Le sol nourrit l'herbe,
Soil feeds the grass,
l'herbe nourrit le
grass
chèvre,
feeds
le
the
chèvre, et le
goat, from the goat
fromage, et
comes
le
the cheese,
fromage, complete le vin.
et le fromage complete le vin. In the countryside of France, on the road between Paris